Welcome to Reach Minds, Thoughts for Your Life Journey. Today, we're diving deeply into the power of quiet determination and conviction. Discover how to steadfast work ethic and living with purpose that can empower you to achieve success, overcome life's bumps, and silence the voices that try to put you in a box. This journey perfectly encapsulates the backstory of my wonderful guest, Jenny Garratt OBE. I've had a pleasure of working with Jenny through Jenny Garratt Global, and I've been truly in awe of the success and impact that she's created in her business for herself and for others. Her powerful motto in life says it all: no one is you, and that is your power. Now, Jenny is no stranger to being an award-winning author, speaker, thought leader for over 20 odd years. She's an expert as an award-winning career coach and leadership trainer. Together with her team, she has designed and delivered impactful development to support women and those from global majority, ethnically diverse individuals to progress to work, as well as supporting all leaders to make inclusion happen through allyship and cultural intelligence programs. Welcome, Jenny.
Thank you. What a wonderful introduction. And I enjoyed being called wonderful as well. Thank you, Nita.
You are wonderful.
Very you to have me on your show. I really appreciate it.
No, it's my pleasure, Jenny, because I've been wanting to have a podcast with you for so long that eventually I'm so glad we got the timing. And one of the things that we talked before coming on this call was that your humble beginning and maybe how in some ways that shaped you and inspired you. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, my mum had me when she was very young. She was still a teenager. And so she ended up being a single parent, teenage with a young child. And we lived in a council estate in northwest London on the 22nd floor. I remember it very well, surprisingly, I guess, considering it was a long time ago. And there weren't such high expectations of me as a result. It was definitely, if I could avoid being a teenage mum, that would have been a good start. As long as I held down a decent job and could fend for myself, that would be a good start too. So I'm not sure that I was one of those people who people had massive ambitions for, or would have predicted that I would have been able to achieve what I have achieved. It's not that anyone put me down, by the way. No one said you can't achieve those things. But, for some of the time, our sphere is quite small. And I don't think people were thinking beyond that for me. I think that's the truth of the matter. It shaped me in lots of ways. Maybe because I was so high up in the sky, I dreamed a lot. And also, perhaps it also gave me an attitude of gratitude, that sense of being happy with what you have and being content and recognizing that everything doesn't immediately come to you. You might have to work hard for it.
I agree with you. And in our talk, you talked about how when you were younger, you had this vision about you becoming something. I remember you saying that.
Yes, there were many different times, from being behind the sofa and popping out and being like an evangelical preacher to people, to also saying, when I rule the world, Mum, I'm going to get you a mink coat and a washing machine. Those were the things that I thought were the epitome of success. So absolutely, I was always ambitious to change the world and to make it better for myself, but also for those around me. I think I really recognized my mum had a tough time, and I wanted to really support her and be there for her, make her life easier. I saw myself potentially on stages or in front of people or making decisions. I think I did imagine that for myself as well. Yeah, I think there was always something in me that it's possible. It's possible to change things for people and myself.
And in the beginning of the podcast, I mentioned the aspects of quiet determination, because I love that word quiet, self-determination. And conviction that you spoke about. So tell us a little bit about those qualities of you in that regard.
Yeah, I absolutely do think that about me. I think there's a lot that goes on inside as well as externally. And I'll give you an example. When I finished school, I completed my A levels and I wanted to be a fashion designer and I wanted to go to art school. And St. Martin's was the art school. I think it still is actually in London. And I thought, that's what I'm going to do. But at the time, I wasn't able to get a grant. I can't remember the reason. And I wasn't able to be supported by my family. So then I had to go back on, I couldn't pursue that. And I went into the world of work. But I still really wanted to do something in the arts at the time. And I committed to a degree, 3 evenings a week for 5 years to be able to study. I was in my 20s, friends were all going out, enjoying themselves, and they didn't see me really until it was holiday time and break from uni. And that's when I potentially had a bit more time on my hands and I could see them. And that quiet persistence was there. I want to get a degree. I'm going to get it. It's going to mean sacrifices, working full time, spending my evenings studying, but it's going to be worth it. Interestingly enough, I didn't end up completing an art degree. I moved it into a business degree. And that was because someone from the same art school that I wanted to go to previously came in and just said, he said, you want to be an artist, you shouldn't have a life. He said, you have to give everything to art. And I thought, I'm working full time, I'm studying, but I cannot give everything to art right now. And so I moved into the major into marketing for my degree. And I think that was a really good decision for me, but I still absolutely love art. In fact, last weekend I was at a pottery wheel with my goddaughter creating, and that was a lot of fun. So I find ways to bring art into my life.
You bring art into your life through the programs you design
Yes. Yes.
and the creativity that you have in terms of content. I
Yes.
think I know it's not the same as brush and a paint.
Yeah.
It is still nonetheless a creativity that you
Yeah,
bring.
I agree. I agree. There's a lot of creativity in the work that we do because yes, we're designing programs, we're thinking about our audience, we're thinking about how we can help messages land and have a bigger impact with people. So there is so much creativity in it. But yes, slightly different. I'm sure the same person at the art school would be saying to me, it's not the same, Jenny.
Yes, I'm sure they would be saying that. What about the conviction bit? Because I've seen over the years, Jenny, your kind of manifestation, your change
Mm,
in observing you on LinkedIn for the
mm,
last, I think, 10 years or so. So
mm.
tell me about the role that conviction has played for you
Yeah,
professionally and personally.
yeah, it's a really good question. And I think that anything you do, for example, you're self-employed, anything that you do that requires a lot from you, I think you have to know your why for that work. There's been lots of sacrifices, I think, in terms of creating a business. I was in my 30s. I had a young child when I decided to start my business. I went on to do a master's degree after I started the business, and that required a lot of me going away for, I think it was 4 days every few months to be immersed in this qualification. So there's a lot you give. And I don't at all resent anything I've given. I'm really pleased I have. But you have to recognize that why would you do it unless it's really important? So for me, the conviction comes from really understanding my why. I do want to do my bit to make the world better for those who come after me, for those who exist now as well. And it really does matter to me. And I think that keeps me going. So on hard times, on difficult days, I think, what is this about? Why am I doing this? Why does this matter? And it could be about empowering people to really realize their potential. It could be about making the world more equitable as well. And thinking about my daughter, I don't want her to have the same experiences in the workplace as people currently are having and people have had in the past. And that's where the conviction comes comes from. It comes from this place of, what is my why? My why is to make the world better. It's to empower people. It's to really create environments where people can truly thrive as themselves. And when you get just a little bit of feedback, even when you get someone say, my life has changed as a result of this program, I'm doing things that I had never done before and didn't expect to do, then you just know it's worthwhile because, yeah, you might not be able to touch every life, but the ones you do touch, if you can touch them positively and other people feel good, then I think that's the important work. That's the good work. And that's what keeps me going. And I would also say I'm a really focused person as well. So that if I decide to do something, I will focus on it and get it done. Maybe I'm a finisher. I'm a starter and a finisher. I'm both of those things because once I start, I make sure I complete things. Those are the qualities within that conviction piece. I've committed. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I would really beat myself up if I felt I let someone down.
It's like the diverse directory. You were fairly innovative in creating that and
Yeah.
creating a platform for individuals to feel part of something where there's a collective understanding. How did that idea for
Mhm.
you come about?
Yeah, it was really interesting. Someone contacted me on LinkedIn who was on the board of a coaching company. And he said to me, they've got no diversity in this coaching company. And I asked them about it and they said, there's no one. So he said, I've done a search on LinkedIn and I found you. Are you the only one? And I said, no, there's so much diversity within coaching. And he said to me, can you come in and speak to the CEO of this company? And I said, does the person really want to speak to me? And interestingly enough, the person knew me, but they said, I didn't think you'd want to do this kind of coaching, which was my maternity coaching. And I said, you're right, it's not really my specialty. But I said, give me a week, I'm going to get you some CVs. And within a week, I think I got them 15 CVs. And they did
Wow.
choose two people to become associates for their company. And I just thought there's not enough visibility. Why is this person finding me and not finding all of the other amazing coaches that I know that are truly fabulous? There's something more needs to be done. And so I decided to create the directory to really increase the visibility of diverse talent, to ensure that corporate coaching pools had diversity. And so people within organizations have a choice of the coach they have rather than, oh, this is our pool. There's no one who looks like me, similar identity, lived experience, and this is all you've got. I wanted to give people a choice. So, yeah, it was really important to me. I started putting it together and life took over a little bit. And then when there was a tragic killing of George Floyd, the people I'd initially contacted and said, I'm doing this directory, said to me, you need to put this thing out there now. This is the time. Don't wait. Because I think I'd put it on hold and said, I'll wait till after COVID and launch it, thinking COVID was going to be 3 months. And they said, no, just go for it. And yeah, and it's really grown. I think there are 50 of us now, which is amazing because I think it probably started with 5 people. And it's such a great community, which you are part of, Nita.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, wonderful coaches, all really well qualified and experienced, and a really safe space to support each other, collaborate, and lift each other up, as well as do great work. Yeah.
And I would say that your is still unique because if you look at a lot of other coaching organization, as I do periodically,
Mm.
I think there is still an absence of diversity in it. I
Yeah.
still think
Mm.
there is so much more work that I think needs to be done around that area.
Yeah, and I think particularly with coaching bodies as well, I've at times tried to write some papers around diversity in coaching. And when you ask the coaching bodies, they always say we have nationality, we have international diversity. That's what they talk about. But they never want to talk about ethnicity and other characteristics. And they might be improving things, they might be gathering data now, I'm not sure. But I think the last time I asked was about a year and a half ago, and I still wasn't getting any information coming forward. So the coaching bodies have a lot of work to do, but definitely organizations can play their part. And one thing I'd say about it is that sometimes I get people approaching me and wanting coaches, and they say they must have been CEOs and they must have been this and that. And I say, but this is coaching, number one. So you don't need to have the same experience as the person that you're coaching. But number two, we know that there's structural inequality in society.
Absolutely.
You want coaches because no one is able to break the glass ceiling. And now you're saying you want a coach who's already broken the glass ceiling, been successful, and now started coaching. This is unrealistic. And people really need to reframe and rethink about what they're asking for, because they're asking for things that don't exist sometimes, and not really understanding what coaching can bring, which is beyond being a mentor and telling you what to do from that wise place of having done it, but much more, how can they ask those really great questions that make you think and unlock different thinking and unlock different ways of doing things and give you new perspectives.
I was supervising somebody yesterday and they were questioning themselves around, I haven't been a C-suite leader. And it doesn't matter.
No.
The fact that you qualified and you've done the work in terms of your own development is half the battle. And the fact you could ask incisive and good questions and challenge them is a good enough space. And you're right. Not many of us, in terms of the glass ceiling, have maybe been to that level. That doesn't mean we're not good at what we're doing.
No, and especially when we're from the global majority, often you'll find we're overqualified. We've got so much experience. It's the glass ceiling that may have stopped us, but it doesn't mean that we haven't got so much to offer. So yeah, absolutely. I think that often this box that people are trying to help make people fit into, it's the wrong box, it's the wrong shape, or there shouldn't be a box in the first place.
No. Now, one of the things I don't know, Jenny, is getting your OBE. What was that like? And why did they give it to you?
Yes, your guess is as good as mine. It's one of the strangest things that happened. I can tell you, I got this email and it was during lockdown saying, it basically says you've been nominated, and if we were to give you an OBE, would you accept it? And I rang my husband, or he had rang me, and I said, oh, I've had this strange spam email about an OBE. I said, they wouldn't be giving it to me, would they? And he said, they might be. He said, why didn't you? He said, is there a number or something like that? Call the number, because if you think it's spam, just call the number and you can check it out. So then I called the number, and then they called me back and left a message and said, yes, it is real. And I said, well, that still could be someone making it up, couldn't it? In the end, I think I phoned a friend of mine and said, could this be real? And they said, yes, complete the forms. Like I said, I sent it back, and then they send you something back saying they're still monitoring you and checking you out, and they could still withdraw it at any point, and you're not allowed to tell anyone, so you can't even speak about it, and all of this sort of thing. And what happened was, because it was lockdown when I was awarded it, there was this backlog of people who hadn't been able to collect their awards. So I had the opportunity to go to Windsor Castle with one person, or I could go to Hatfield House, which is reasonably near me, with 4 people and have a reception with canapes and a lovely evening with 3 other people who were also being awarded, and also go to afternoon tea at Buckingham Palace. So I chose the second option because I could have two lots of events, with family in tow. Family's so important to me. So I could bring my husband, my mum, and my daughter. And my mum is absolutely super proud about it all. That her little girl could get an OBE. But to answer your question about why did I get it, I've done a lot of work with female entrepreneurs over the years, supporting women into business. A lot of work completely pro bono, just because I want to support women. And that's what they cited it as, all of the different people I've supported to be entrepreneurs, and all of the outreach and voluntary work I've done and that I continue to do, in different spheres. But they actually read out a citation about each of us, and it gave an indication of why we've been nominated. And that's unusual. So, because we had this special reception, we had this citation read out by the Lord Lieutenant of the area, and people don't usually just get a quick hello and a bye-bye and you're out. And they had done a lot of research because there was someone I had coached who was, I can't remember the word you would say, that they're homeless, but they're not, they were in temporary accommodation. So they weren't homeless on the street, but they were legally homeless. And they even mentioned that. And I hadn't told anyone about that. I hadn't put it on social media or anything. It was someone's private experience, but they had found that out. So I thought, gosh, you really have dug deep to find out what I've been up to, and I still don't quite know how they found that. But yeah, so they'd been monitoring, they'd been watching, and yeah, it was wonderful. And yeah, lots of work I've done, and I also have a social enterprise called Rocking Your Teens. That's 10 years old now, and again, completely pro bono. It's to inspire 13 to 14-year-olds and help them increase their aspirations. And that was born out of when my daughter was around 13, the social media really impacting her, the peer pressure, and me thinking that young people need something more. So it was both of those things, I think, the supporting female entrepreneurs, but also the supporting young people through Rocking Your Teens.
It sounds so jam-packed, your sort of work and everything. How do you have downtime, Jenny?
Yeah, I think I have quite a lot of downtime now. I would tell you, I'd be totally honest, that I think there was a very frantic time in my life where it was just non-stop. I was up late and I was banging away at my laptop thinking, oh my gosh, how I'm sinking here with all the different things that are coming in my direction. I don't know if I can cope with it. And I probably wasn't great to live with at that point as well. I think I was probably giving the best of me to the outside world and giving the worst to me to those behind closed doors kind of thing, because I was just shattered. So I definitely have had those periods. I have colleagues who work with me. I have a lovely team of people who work alongside me, so I can delegate, which is a lovely feeling. I'm not delivering everything. And in fact, I don't have lots of coaching clients. I try and keep it to a small number that I can give quality to rather than stretching myself. So I have quite a lot of downtime now. I'm not working all evening. I try to switch off at 5 o'clock unless I'm going to an event or something like that. I do networking and socializing with people, so I don't feel like that's work. And definitely at the weekends, I have my time. There's the odd thing that I might do, but yeah, work is integral to my life. So I guess I think about it a lot still, no matter, even when I'm on my downtime, I might be thinking, oh, that's interesting, that's creative. I can bring that to my work in some way. So if something sparks my interest and attention, but I think my work-life balance for how I want it is quite good now. But as I said, I think it's been out of kilter at times. And particularly, I remember when my daughter was very young, I would take her to school, work, get her home from school, spend some time with her. She goes to bed. Now I'm working some more. And when I was doing my master's alongside running a business and having a young child, yeah, it was tough. It was absolutely tough.
I think it is tough. I remember taking my daughter when she was about 2 months old on some training program with a bottle of express milk along the way.
Yeah.
And I know we all have to do those things. What I want to draw out a little bit is who inspired you to get into coaching? Who said, Jenny, you'd be really great at this from coming from a marketing background?
Yes, yeah. There were two people who I would say really helped me on the career front. The first is a woman called Barbara, who I worked with. And she said to me one day, just, well, what next? Where are you going with your career? And I remember looking at her thinking, I've arrived. I've got this senior marketing role in a business school. I've done quite well. And she said, no, you can do more. She actually initially said I could train people on a sort of on programs, on marketing programs, but I was a very nervous nervous public speaker at that point, Nita, and I just wouldn't have been able to do it. And then she said, what about coaching? Faculty come into your office, they come away motivated and ready to take action. Maybe you should consider that. And we had a relationship with a university where I worked. And so I was able to attend this postgraduate certificate in coaching, which was completely transformational for me. So that was absolutely amazing. And that was a turning point. I just thought I loved marketing, but now I love coaching. This is these individual conversations that can change
Yes.
everything for people. This is the work I want to do. And then I felt a bit stuck, if I'm honest, because I was in this coach marketing role, wanting to be a coach, and they let me do a little bit of coaching on some of our programs, but it was really tiny, and I wasn't fulfilled enough through it. So two things happened. One was that I got some coaching myself, and my coach said, why don't you go down to 4 days a week? And on the fifth day, see if you can start to build a coaching practice. And if you really like it as much as you think you do, because maybe you're in love with the idea of coaching and maybe it's not going to be great. And then also a colleague at the same place who I would say became my sponsor, an older man, a white man, an American man. So lots of difference between us, said, come to my part of the business and I'll really support you and I'll really help and I'll really encourage you. And he was a great sponsor to me. One of the things he shares, which I think I shared with you before, is he said, share your vision and the universe will conspire to make it happen. And he said, just tell everyone that you love coaching, tell everyone what you get from it, tell everyone what you want to do, and it's going to happen. And he was absolutely right. Within a year, I'd gone freelance, and that's almost 20 years now.
Wow. I think he's right. If you have a share your vision, and the universe will provide for you if
Yes,
you're focused enough, but not too attached to it, I think,
yes, yeah,
in some
yeah.
ways. So,
Mm.
in terms of the sort of how the world is shaping up, what are you noticing from the Jenny Garratt Global perspective about the world?
Yeah, that's a really good question. We know that right now there's a backlash in the US around diversity, equity, and inclusion, and I think it's shaken everyone up. Even though I do believe that most organizations are just changing names and still doing the good work, because I think they still realize that it matters to be inclusive, that they still need to recruit the best diverse talent, and it really makes a difference. I think the people are scared to talk about it now. But I also think people who are never on board are really enjoying this time and riling others up a little bit. And I do find that a little bit scary, particularly some of the political parties in the UK that are rising in popularity. So there's a lot of political things that are happening that are impacting how people view the work of leadership development, how they view the world of diversity, equity, and inclusion. But I feel very strongly that if you're truly committed, nothing changes, but it shapeshifts. And it's one of the things I wrote in my last book, Equality versus Equity. I think it's Derek Bell, who was one of the sort of proponents of critical race theory, said we have to be careful because racism is always shape shifting, and what we're fighting against, the world we're trying to create, just as we get close, everything moves around us. And I think this is one of those times. I still, though, recognize that we've come a long way. I am absolutely my ancestors' wildest dreams, and I hope my daughter will be my wildest dreams and her children if she chooses to have any. So we have made progress, and I think that's important to remember, but it's now to think about what the next stage is. And when I think about it, I think about three pillars. I think about inclusive leadership being the foundation for everything. And part of that is about race and ethnicity. Some of that could be also about the generations, the intergenerational workplace, and other characteristics within that, and having cultural intelligence. So I think that we're still going to be concerned about inclusive leadership, but as a foundational element to leadership. I also think, though, with AI and the technological changes we're having, that everyone is going to have to become more entrepreneurial. So you yourself running your own business, me, myself, we've got those qualities where we've experienced the ups and downs and we've had to remotivate ourselves. We've had to be persuasive about why it is people should engage with us. We have a lot of qualities of being entrepreneurial, dealing with difficulties, managing risk, all of these different things, and just keeping ourselves going and managing all of the emotions around that. And I think that in organizations, that they need that foundation of inclusive leadership, but then they need to develop their entrepreneurial leaders. And I think the last piece in the last pillar is really about actually just not throwing AI at everything, but understanding the mindset that's needed to help people engage with AI in a meaningful way, to understand what people need and make sure that no one's left behind in organizations as a result of these technological changes. So these really strong thoughts about how do we use AI, who uses AI, who might it be more difficult to engage with this, because they say that women think they're cheating when they use AI, so they don't want to use it. That people from ethnically diverse backgrounds are more fearful of AI. How is it going to be used? What does it know about them? But if we stay away from it, we might end up being the ones who no longer have a role in the future. So I think there's something for organizations to really consider their people first aspect of introducing technology. And I think those are the pillars. And I think that's where you said what's happening for Jenny Garratt Global. It's really thinking this through, thinking inclusive leadership plus entrepreneurial leadership plus the people aspect of implementing AI, so we can really help people be ready for the future.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fear around AI, I think, and it's not going to go away. It's like when the internet came on, it wasn't going to go away. We embraced it. And I know AI is slightly different. Not slightly, it is different. And there is a role that I think it can play in our world if we embrace it and manage it, I think.
Yeah, and think it through.
Yes,
That I think coaching can really help. This idea of how can
yes.
we thoughtfully engage with something rather than just think it's the panacea for all ailments or the worst thing in the world. They're somewhere else, and it's neither of those things. And we provide thinking spaces, don't we? That's what coaches do, and I think coach thinking spaces have never been needed more.
If someone is thinking about starting their own business or their own gig, so to speak, in the world of maybe consulting or coaching or whatever, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I'd say perseverance. Yeah, perseverance is really important. There's in the beginning or at times, the phone's not going to ring. No one's going to be liking your LinkedIn posts. It's just not going to be happening. So you really do need that quiet conviction to say, I'm on the right track and I'm going to keep going. Because I've seen so many people stop at the point at which I think if they just carried on a little bit longer, it would have taken off. It does not happen instantly. What does Malcolm Gladwell say? I think it's been debunked, but those 10,000 hours matter. You've got to put those hours in, and you've got to keep consistently going. Not that you don't pivot or evolve what you're doing, but at the heart of it, I think should be the same. It should be what really matters to you. So take action. Don't just think about it, do it, but persevere. Persevere. That's my recommendation.
I love your motto. And where did that come from? No one is you, and that is your power.
I don't actually know when the first time I read that was, but it's been the most powerful mantra for me. I've done a couple of TED Talks, and I know I used it in one of those TED Talks as well. And it just helps me not have imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Because I don't compare myself to anyone else. I know I'm different. I'm not better than anyone else. I'm just different and I'm me. And it helps me embrace my uniqueness. I think I've had a lot of criticism in the past. I remember when I first started delivering training, sometimes people would say my voice wasn't exciting enough or different things. You get a lot of critique in life, don't you? And it enables me not to worry about critique, actually. It just says maybe I'm not the right person for them or whatever it is, because there's only one me. And some people will like it and value it, and other people won't. But that's it. That's my uniqueness. So it just enables me to stand in my power, not feel like an imposter, not compete, and just be confident and comfortable in myself.
Yeah, and who you are. I think that
Yes.
is the gift that you can give to yourself and to the world, really, when you see someone who's the cliche walking their talk. Thank you very much, Jenny, for sharing your experiences, your tips, and your insights around what makes you you. And I think I've learned a lot more about you in this podcast in the last sort of 3 years of knowing you, I think.
Wow.
So thank you very much for being, actually, I would say humble and very open. So
Oh,
a heartfelt thank you to you.
no, thank you. I'm sure it's your interviewing style that's made that happen. So yeah, I've really appreciated it. And yeah, I look forward to working with you more in the future as well.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you. If you're interested in working with me, connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or www.nitisharma.com. And if you enjoyed the podcast, why not consider subscribing on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you have access to your podcast, and leave a review.